Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Alicia. This is Alicia's Creative Paradise, and I have a new journal. It is for a design team project for Journaling Angela, and I'm really excited that I was able to work with her in her digital Cottage Florals. And this is a special journal because it has 3 spines and 5 signatures, and it's pretty substantial. If you can see that. Here's the back, here's the side. I got a few little dangles here on the side, and I'm using a sari silk that I got from Felt Better on Etsy. And so this is a clip-on earring that I got from a thrift store, and so it is holding on this envelope on the front. So let me just go ahead and just take this off. So when you're looking at it, you just take off this right here. And this is got one of her digitals on the inside. And it is a junk mail envelope that I coffee dyed. And I put some tracing paper on the back of this. And I use some transparency film for the inside of the envelope here for the window. And I just thought that looked really nice. There's that. And this is part of the digital, as you can see. I went ahead and put it here because it looks really nice. So there's the front envelope. Here is the front cover. And I put a little frame around this, and I put some sari sequin trim in various places. And so this is the first book on the top here. They're all connected. This is her digital. I got various pieces of coffee dyed paper in here, some fussy cut butterflies, and just some textured paper, tracing paper. This is part of her digital. I actually coffee dyed this tissue paper. It's from Hobby Lobby, and then I put some gold in the water of the coffee, so it's kind of a little bit sparkly. And just some little ephemera pieces. There's a tuck spot right here. The ledger tablet. More coffee dyed paper there. Some trims, just various pieces of her digital I've added through and made pockets out of it. Some tabs. This is actually some cardstock, and I coffee dyed it, and it kind of goes with it. I like it. And just a clip with this little file folder thing there. Some laces. There's that. Yeah, this is pretty nice because like I said previously, I wasn't able to do any creation of junk journals for the last couple of years because I was working so hard. And so this is pretty exciting for me because I actually I went a little overboard, I think. but that's okay. I was having fun. And this is part of her kit. I've added a couple of different things that were not from her kit, but that's okay. It needed a few more things, so I pulled from my stash to add a couple of things. Like I got these from Hobby Lobby. This is in her kit. She gives you these little tabs, and I just made them into little tuck spots. Coffee dyed paper. Add an envelope in here. Okay, so that was the first book on the top here, and it's connected with fabric right there. This is what it's connecting to. So after you get through this first book, the first book is here, and then you start on your next signature, which is this one here. I've made some triangle pockets. This is part of her kit. I've just backed that with some paper. This is not in her kit, but it's on tracing paper, so it's kind of see-through. And I really like the way it looks in here. So this is part of her kit. Some Tim Holtz here and some lace on this textured coffee dyed paper. Another envelope, a little pretty bead, dictionary page, some lace. This is part of her digital. I love the way this paper turns out here. This is just something I had, like a tag. And there's some more of that sequin sari that I put on this. And here's one. I didn't want to overfill it because I didn't want the person that gets this to be like, oh, there's no room for my stuff. And right here on this corner, I put this tulle and a little jewel on that trim there. I just thought that added a cute little touch. And there's some more of that sequin sari in here. And then here's the next book in here. And so this one flips up, but I have this pocket here. I did some stenciling on some coffee dyed paper, and it just kind of distressed it some. And I just sewed around it and just made it into a pocket. And so it flips up. And this is her digital there. And this too. Here's a little mini paper clip with a rose. Another envelope. So this book is full of textured paper. It's got various pieces of coffee dyed paper that's all in different textures. And plenty of room for writing space. And here's a key and on a bulb pen with a bead. And there we have, here's the other front part of the next part of the book. And so I just put this tulle that's kind of got some sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see that. Some sparkle. And I sewed it on to this really thick file folder. And this is a really light green file folder that I coffee dyed. And you can see that it was coffee dyed. So here's a butterfly and a piece of this trim. And I just kind of left it looking rough. And use this packaging to hold all that together. Here's some tulle. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby, possibly at Dollar Tree. I can't remember. I've had it for a little while. And more Tim Holtz, more textured coffee dyed paper. And here's some textured tissue paper that I dyed in rose hip tea. And it didn't dye it as dark as I would like, so I added a little bit of alcohol inks to it. There's a sticker on a book page. This is part of her kit. Here's part of her kit. Here's a tuck spot with some extra pieces of paper. This is part of her kit. This too. And part of her kit, and I just made it into a pocket. Here's another envelope, and this is part of her kit too. Tag, a very old book page, some Tim Holtz there. There's another page. Yeah, that's from her kit. Some lace, a sticker. You can see there's plenty of room for writing in here. This is part of her kit, which is really pretty. She let me pick the kit that I was going to work with, so this is the one I wanted. She's got these real pretty little envelopes. This is part of her kit. Here is a coffee dyed receipt that I put in here. Another sticker. Part of her kit here. Book page. Some washi tape printed on vellum. And here's the other part of that. And you can actually, I went ahead and attached it where you can put something in there. There's some vintage doily on some coffee dyed tracing paper. So a lot of texture there. Some thin tissue paper. Book page. This is part of her kit. I like the combination that she puts in there. This is a tea bag. Another envelope. Craft paper that I've coffee dyed. There's the other part of that. Some trim. Book page. Here's another tuck spot here. I don't have everything filled, but I wanted places for people to put things when they got this. Here's a top tuck spot. Another Tim Holtz. Another envelope here. And here's a little tablet. Another letter. Here's another tablet. Sticker. Here's another tablet. I have a lot of these tablets, so I wanted to go ahead and use them. Okay. And this is her kit. Here. Another pocket there. There's this. And this is part of her kit too. I just made it into a real envelope with some lace on the back. And a miniature paper clip there holding some of her digital on there. More textured paper. And the last page, which is a really fun tracing paper. It's a thicker tracing paper. And this is a pocket back here where some something can be put into that. And here's where the spine is held on. And then here's the back. And there's no pockets or anything, but I did put a frame in that real pretty flower picture there. So there you have it. I do have various trims on here. I really wanted to cover up the stitching, so I used some trims that I got from Hobby Lobby. I don't know if you can see, there's two trims here. There's a brown one and a white one. And then this lace is covering this one, and then there's two trims here to kind of cover up and give it a nice look. Okay, so there it is. This is my design team junk journal for Journaling Angela. I'm really appreciative of her accepting me onto her team after being out of this for so long. It was great. I was really happy that she accepted me. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this into my Etsy store if anybody wants to buy it. You can also message me on Instagram, and I will get back with you. And thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.